So today's special focus is gang stalking. I'd like to get things started on our program today with a few words on our special focus, gang stalking, which has become a problem for far too many people and is finally gaining some very much needed awareness in the algorithms as of late. Videos in the form of documentaries, testimonials, targeted individual support or advice, congressional hearings, government training manuals, secret society confessions, renunciations, podcasts, and more have been a very much needed unveiling of the many societal ailments that must first be fully examined before any feasible solutions could possibly manifest to fruition in any truly meaningful way. A large amount of economic chicanery begins making a lot more sense after we dive into how many incomes don't match people's purchasing power, and said purchasing privilege was part of an intentional covert subversion and subjugation of targeted members within the citizenry, seemingly swept up in an array of pattern layers entrenched in distraction and plausible deniability. If they appeared to be a detriment to established conditioning and control mechanics imposed on the many by the few, who wish to turn this realm into a dystopian theater production that the majority of us did not wish to audition for, let alone buy a ticket to. It would also appear that having the ability to trigger the feelings of those that have proven to be nothing more than entitled, autocratic, spoiled, and brainwashed into a preferable state by their overseers and handlers up the chain of imaginary relevance and wealth, as we keep seeing reiterated across many topics of corruption, extortion, and waste. If we follow the money trail, we unlock the keys to further understanding the motivations and mechanisms that divide the haves and have-nots under their current programs and enforced mandated simulation. The degree of manufactured, fabricated, and orchestrated reality required to achieve the desired conditions within their systems of control mechanisms and power dynamics to meet their criteria of acceptability literally requires tons of surveillance, corruption, manipulation, distractions, and many contractors to carry out these endeavors. Other things that require lots of money flooding into the wrong hands to do bad things, which brings us to the topic at hand, gang stalking, also known as organized harassment, community mobbing, and other names attached to Operation Gladio or Stasi East German methodologies, which appear to be the primary source materials in contemporary times for a very archaic practice that was never going to survive a civilization with smart devices, yet required one to even attempt such totalitarian oppression tactics as those of which they wish to conjure. Many individuals, for many reasons from a multitude of demographics, are targeted regularly by organizations, both public and private, in an effort of the most insidious eugenics-rooted psychological warfare and social engineering experimentation effort embarked on during our current era of so-called recorded history. I have been targeted from childhood due to secret societies' false doctrines, superstitious beliefs, corrupt government employees I'm related to, corrupt military members connected to my family and ex-husband's family, and current husband's former commands, and the GATE program in childhood. I'll be doing a feature on the GATE program next episode for a deeper dive into what that experience was like for us kids who were placed in gifted and talented, only to find out academics were definitely not what these educators were interested in. Other groups commonly targeted are those who are highly independent or self-sufficient, activists, advocates, intellectuals, researchers, journalists, influencers, highly intuitive or psychically gifted people, highly sensitive and empathic individuals, eccentric and eclectic individuals, religious or spiritual individuals who refuse to bow to the demands of man when in conflict with their beliefs. We are also going to go ahead and include philosophical beliefs of the same variety for this one. And any other group who goes against the grain in an upstanding and reasonable way. Remember that part. These efforts are funded privately, publicly, and through corruption. Professional training, support, resources, tech, including experimental surveillance gear and energy weapons, command structures with like headquarters that are very sophisticated and have access to things that they should not. Abuses of public services and even occult practitioners are commonly contracted for these endeavors that take a targeted individual and subjects them to a battery of injustice coupled with invisible torture to case study the deconstruction of their subjects' autonomy, agency, sentience, spirit, and soul, as it is the only way they can conceive keeping their evil dystopian cosplay the only game in town. Let's take a moment to go over some of the more notable selections in the playlist posted below. And I'm just going to read off the first few. Gang-Stalking Explained. The 5 W's of gang-stalking and how it's connected to the narcissistic empath dynamic. Accomplices of abusers are everywhere and gang-stalking. Gang-stalking targeted individuals overview, cyber torture. Gaslighting, inhumane treatment, and endless psychological abuse endured by a targeted individual. Gang-stalking attacks on the targeted individual's hierarchy of needs reveals the levels of corruption. Gang-stalking street theater and the 12-step program designed for targeted individuals. Gang-stalking informants, Cointelpro surveillance, community policing goals, bridging the gap, 2009. Victimized by your own kin, family mobbing, the scapegoat. Gang-stalking basics, targeted individuals. Gang-stalking, NSA whistleblower Karen Stewart discusses shielding, coping, 26 activism. 5 clear signs you're a target of gang-stalking. And gang-stalking, how people are recruited against the victim. And so many, many, many more. So don't forget to go check out that playlist for all of those.